Anybody have any questions about it?
Could you describe what it is?
It's a hillbilly pet parade, and what Dennis is planning is to have animals, dogs, cats, horses in a parade dressed up in costume and give prizes and have food and beer.
So it's supposed to be a fundraiser for the children?
Fundraiser for the Children's Center, yes.
And then who's putting the upfront cost for that?
It would be self-funded. There would really be no cost, it's all
Well, who would buy the
volunteer.
beer?
Who would buy the food yourself?
Well, it's all donated. People would be donating the food, and the beer would be probably bought by one of the volunteers. I don't know the particulars of it, because Dennis is planning it. But like I said, it's just approval of to have alcohol at the center. That's all. It's not approval of the fundraising event, because that has nothing to do with the board. It's just approval of the alcohol.
And what was the date, I'm sorry?
22nd?
November 22nd.
Or later.
Or later.
Next week. That's next week.
Right.
Is there a motion?
Okay, I make a motion, we approve the hillbilly.
It's just the acceptance of the alcohol.
What's that?
It's just the acceptance.
Oh, the acceptance of the alcohol and the hillbilly pet parade.
I second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. That's unanimous. Okay, any director's comments?
I do have one comment, and it's been brought to my attention by several people in the community. At the Silverado Country Fair, apparently somebody was selling beer at $5 a cup. And it is definitely against the policies of this organization to have anything on this property where beer is sold. And I evidently went on all day, and it was known by a lot of people. So I'm going to ask the board to look into that, see what action we have to take.
So everybody knows our deed restriction here, which I believe is from the County of Orange.
From
because
Orange Unified School District.
That's what I meant. Because we got this site from the school, restricts alcohol on the site.
You got anybody with some beer?
Yeah,
I know.
there was beer being sold.
Yeah.
I bought some.
So,
Huh?
do we know
I
where,
bought some.
or
Yeah?
what?
I
or-
would. Oh.
Well, some people know who, I don't personally know who did it, but there are
Huh.
people that know who did it, and there are people that had experience. In fact, one of the vendors, the exhibitors, claimed somebody came and spilled a beer on her display or whatever. So we'll have more information about that, but I wanted to bring it up to the board because it is something that's quite concerning. Now, I don't know if this is a fact, but I understand that it was part of the agreement when the Holtz Ranch donated this property over to the community center, that if any alcohol is served or present on this property sold, there is going to be some type of a problem with that.
That's my understanding.
Is there any way to change it?
Change
Can
what?
I address this?
I believe it's on the title.
Tom, it's Orange Unified School District that we got the property from, and they apparently put it in the deed restriction.
Okay, it wasn't the Holtz people?
But
No.
I heard it originally started with the Holtz family, that they,
Right.
that's what they were
That's what I
thinking.
heard.
That's what I heard. But again, I have not looked into it or don't have any other information.
I think I remember seeing a paper a long time ago.
I have the deed, and it's in the deed, and I was gonna pursue it, but we probably have to go to court and ask them to set it aside.
Now, we did research on this when I was on the board last time, and my remembrance from that is that those deed restrictions are probably not enforceable. It's been such a long time from what we did when we were on the board at that point. So I'm sure John would probably know better about a process, but when I was on the board, I mean, we always followed it. but I think if you wanted to overturn it, you probably.
Just like a lot of the properties up here were originally had, that you couldn't sell your house to a black person
Yeah,
on the deed.
it was
It was written in the
a
deed.
temperance thing back then.
It's actually written on people's
Our deed
titles and
says they
deeds.
cannot live in the main house, like we got more than one.
Really?
Right?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy moly.
Isabel Miller on the house
Wow.
that 10 houses, the original deed said,
Right.
no pigs on the property and no black people in the main house. Wow.
So there you go. I mean, that's not
I
being
kind of
upheld.
researched it a little bit with Mary Schreiber, and she went and got all the documentation back. And we talked about it with a few people, and we're like, maybe here it's better to just not have alcohol and not have the liability issues. So that's, and it didn't look like it was going to be easy to do in no new house, so that's as far as we.
But if we could serve beer and have a permit, I mean, the money you could make for fundraisers would double.
Yeah, but the
Wendy?
liability would,
Well, you have security.
Quite
It's
Wendy,
through the
got her hand
ABC.
Wendy?
No, I was just raising, this. It was only about maybe no more than 2 years ago that we looked into it again. And Mary Schreiber went
Well,
down there.
That would have been, yeah.
That was it. And I didn't see any of the paperwork. I asked for it, didn't get it, but and I think, Tom, you were there too, and it was part of the conversation. She said, no, it just can't happen. So
Yeah,
it's been looked
I
at
just
again.
know that it wasn't permitted, but I don't know what's gonna be on that.
Well,
And
it's
as
a much
a-
different thing to have racial restrictions. Those are void as a matter of public policy, and everybody knows there's a difference between those kind of restrictions and those involve civil rights and what we used to permit, but don't anymore. Alcohol's a different deal, but it could be that if the Orange Unified School doesn't have any property that's any way connected with this anymore, that it may not be a valid deed restriction. It's an interesting question. Usually there has to be kind of a relationship with the properties, but we could look into it at a future time. Maybe I got extra time on my hands. And I haven't seen a case that deals with no alcohol. It's kind of an interesting question, but you'd have to bring if you really wanted to, you'd bring a quiet title action if you want to be super safe, and or you could just say it isn't valid and get counsel to say it isn't and take your chances.
So the deed restriction says it reverts back to unified.
And as far as selling beer at the fair, it was certainly not done with the knowledge of the fair committee. So I just want to stop that right there. It was not an approved thing, and so, and I don't know where it was done from or who
The
had it.
taco stand, as I understand it, that's what everybody was talking. It seems like everybody knows about it.
well, there
I didn't
needs
know
to
that.
be something in
Everybody
the
went to
application
First I
that
heard.
says you can't do it, and, some way to reinforce it.
So, and there were 2 taco stands, so I don't know
No,
what.
there were?
Yeah, there was a fry bread taco stand and then the other taco stand, so,
Okay, well,
yeah.
see if you can gather some more information. I mean, we can't let it happen.
Right. It's gonna happen.
Everybody knows that we can't let it happen, so.
What more information do we need then? Just like who did it and just tell them they can't do it? Yeah,
Well,
so
we
that's
need
all
to
there
get-
is to it,
Yeah, I
right?
was hoping that we'd get some people to say who it was.
Well, and even, I'm thinking on the applications, does it say no alcohol, and I mean.
Everyone knows
It says
it.
no
It's just a
hooch, no
given.
pooch.
You know, I don't
It does
know.
say no hooch, no pooch at the bottom.
No, I mean on their
Yeah.
application when they sign
Yeah, I
up
don't
for
know.
a vote.
Yeah, they
Because that
probably
might
don't
be
even
some-
know. I mean, actually, I did get like a correspondence yesterday, but I had heard it the day of the event because I will tell you, Brett Lawrence came over and right directly after the event, and I offered him something to drink. He goes, "I'll stick with beer because that's what I was drinking at the fair." And I asked, and I said, "Really?" So I did know about it right from that day.
Well,
but-
people do
Well,
drink
yeah,
in their own cups. I know that.
They're
Yeah.
saying they were buying
Yeah, he
beer
bought
for
it for
$5.
$5.
Greg Peterson started that one.
We had a-
$5 a cup.
But I think it should be
He said
something on the
someone's making money.
application,
I
so
know,
that
right?
there's no, you signed here that you would not do it, then you have
I
something.
never heard nothing about it.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah, I don't.
That's definitely gonna be on the
actually, that's
application
not
from
my
now on.
forte, so I don't
Yeah,
know.
I think it's pretty much water under the bridge. You're gonna have to,
Well, we'll have to find out who did
what are you
it.
gonna do? Go slap them on the hand? You're gonna,
Okay, next, any more,
That won't happen again, we'll talk to them.
I think it just has to be that there
I think-
has
Has
to
to
be
be
some
resolved
kind-
someday.
Yeah, I think what
You just
Debbie
can't say,
said-
Forget it. You
I
know,
think maybe
past
what-
issues.
what the SMRPD needs is something that, when they rent the place, it needs to be very clear in a document, and to not only the person that's renting it, organizing it, but maybe to the vendors as well, because the person that I got the letter from, or the email from, she didn't even know that you couldn't have beer. She
Well,
was
that's what I
just
mean,
basically
somebody's
saying,
responsible.
she was basically saying that her business was down, and why did we serve beer, and could we not serve beer in the future because it hurt her business? Because they were saying that they needed the cash for the beer instead of her goods. That's what her issue is. That's a
Okay, any
beer
other-
drinker for you.
any other comments?
Unless she says that, I'm not,
I have
let me see the email.
I have no comments.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
Sure, okay.
I have something.
No beer for black people, man.
I think everybody knows, pardon the sucker, that Amy Camille and my committee have been working really hard on getting a school used for a temporary evacuation center.
The school?
Yeah, Silverado School.
The school or
Elementary
the
school
children's
or
center?
the children's?
Silverado School. At the very bottom, kind of where the building is, where the PO is. And as such, we need to use, we will be using easements that goes up to the children's center. So OC Parks is requesting that A, we let the kids know that we're gonna use it, and B, that we sign off on it. So, I just need a signature.
Can't do it
But
tonight.
before I get the signature, it's a chief, but it's not voted.
Yeah.
Absolutely, can't do it tonight.
This is the, special permits use that goes with it. That we have to do.
We're going for that.
And this is the easement, because SMRPD doesn't have sole custody over the easement, it just says that, yes, it is. And so I'm requesting this get signed by somebody.
We can't send it today. Has to come up at a regular meeting.
Well, you guys will have a chance to look it over, there's a letter, it's pretty straightforward, and there's a special use permit thing and there's conditions in there from OC Parks that we're working on too.
Okay.
And a copy, like I said, a copy of the easement.
Okay, anything else? Motion to
So
adjourn?
can I just ask, this is a silly question, why did we have a special meeting today that was different from any other time? We've never had it on Wednesday before.
We had to approve the expenses so they could get paid before we got late fees on
Curious, because I don't remember us ever having one on Wednesday.
Well, I was gonna try and do it over the weekend, and there wasn't enough notice, hurry up. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I made a motion to adjourn.
It's like,
New one is that Rachel, because she downloaded it to put on